Gentleman's time has expired. Now recognize the gentleman from Washington, Mr. Baumgartner.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I am delighted that the committee is having this hearing. This is a very important issue to me. I came to Congress in part to work specifically on this issue. In the Washington State Legislature, I was the chair of the Commerce, Labor, and Sports Committee, worked a lot on higher education issues, and here I've helped found the Bipartisan College Sports Caucus. So this is a very important issue to me, and I campaigned on this issue, so I've spent a considerable amount of time talking to my voters because we care quite a bit about this issue. College sports is very, very important to the American public. It contributes to social cohesion. It contributes to opportunities for young people, and it also is vitally important for our economies in our region. These are highly subsidized public goods, that we're dealing with in college education. And while I am delighted that we have two members from the Big Ten and the SEC here, and I very much want to work with you on these issues, it is difficult for me to sit here as someone from the Pac-12 knowing that the greed of ESPN and the football programs at the Big Ten and the SEC have contributed to the breakdown in the traditional model in college athletics. That's very tough to me. I mean, Mr. McIntosh, I do want to work on this issue, but can you in good faith tell me that it is in the best interest of student athletes for volleyball players or Olympic athletes to travel across the country on a weekly basis? Does a national sports league in college athletics make any sense when it comes to student athlete welfare?
Well, Congressman, thank you for your question. First, I'd like to say I'm empathetic to your position on the breaking up of the Pac-12. I think it was a tragic situation in the landscape of college athletics. I would say this to your question, sir. Our student athletes already play a national schedule. Our student athletes travel all over the country, whether they're in revenue-generating sports or Olympic sports, to play all over the country and to play the best teams.
Well, I would disagree. And when I talk to most taxpayers, they think it is absurd that the volleyball team from Oregon or the University of Washington is traveling across the country to play schools like Maryland. And in fact, if you look at the frequent comments by coaches like the basketball coach at UCLA, he's also talked about the strain this year that is putting on student athletes to travel across the country. So I think for the good of taxpayers, I think for when we put hopefully put the genie back in the bottle here, we do need to seriously look at student athlete welfare on this issue. Mr. Cooper, in college athletics, football makes a ton of money. There's a ton of money, particularly in Power 5 football. The current model tries to pay for everything else with that football money, but in the era of unfettered free agency, in the era of NIL, where there's no salary caps, we have this uncontrolled arms race in football that allows coaches to make considerable sums of money, but it is now the Olympic sports that have a lot of value that are at risk. So in your model, how would athletes be treated if they were treated with, if you were to be successful? Would Shedeur Sanders or someone that is a very high profile athlete, would he receive more in payments than a college wrestler? Or how does your group envision payments working if you were to be successful?
Yeah, so as you emphasize, these are highly subsidized public goods, and that is an important fact to remember here. And because they have not been operating under the antitrust laws, they have been inefficiently allocating these funds, and they conceal how much money they're spending on their own salaries, frankly. In terms of whether athletes should all be paid equally, I think most folks would agree that the funds generated by a sport should go to that sport. And how those decisions are made should not be made unilaterally by, administrators in closed doors. And they should be held accountable by taxpayers to spend that money efficiently, both in how they're compensating coaches and administrators, but also how they're compensating athletes.
Well, if we were to do that, football is the one that makes all the money. And if under that model, then all the money stays with football players, and it is the Olympic athletes that would continue to suffer. So I think that you need to think through exactly what that would mean to how we save Olympic sports, and I would say, just in closing, I have 5 kids. 2 of them participate in track and field. 2 of them were All-Americans in junior athletics, and I would love them to be runners someday at either West Point or Washington State University. And I just really believe that the current model is that it is too broken. If this Congress does not do something to step forward to save Olympic sports, that my kids, your kids, every kids are not going to have that opportunity, because it's all going to be in football with the SEC and the Big Ten and ESPN and Fox Sports and a bunch of backroom deals of TV execs, instead of elected, accountable officials who are responsible to the taxpayers. So we got to sort this out. This has to get fixed in this Congress. And I showed up here with a lot of people talking about this issue, but we really have to fix this. And it can't be the typical union, non-union, demonization schools, NCAA is evil. I mean, we really have to work on this issue and come to a solution. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. Recognize the ranking member for unanimous.